All right, what's up, guys? So it's Hunter here, and this is going to be my mock 1.0. It's June 1st, so draft season. We got a couple weeks until the draft. NBA Finals is coming up later this week, so I feel like this is a good time to get 1.0 in while the rumors start flowing in. And, I was able to catch up on the last month of all my research, watching the prospects and watching film breakdowns and etc. So I have gone through a mock before. This is going to be my first official one, and we'll see where it goes. So basically, the Atlanta Hawks with a surprising pick, number one. All right. The Hawks are in a weird situation because you've had the rumors with the Lakers for DeJounte Murray. You've had Trae Young going to the Spurs. You've had DeJounte back to the Spurs. So you really don't know what direction they're going. Jalen Johnson had a breakout season, especially at the second half. And they're in a weird direction. Do we take this first pick and just stick with who we have? Do we trade Trae Young or DeJounte or both? What do we do with Clint Capella? They extended Big O, so it's kind of they're in a tough situation. Not tough, this is a good problem to have, but like you kind of don't know. Like, should we start the rebuild? Should we try to do like a mini rebuild, or should we trade the pick maybe, or just pick the best guy available and just see if he can be an instant impact player for the Hawks? So I'm not going to overthink it. I am going to take Alex Sarr. Um, the reason being is Clint Capella's on his last year of his contract. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, last year expiring deal. They could use a center. He's a great defender. He can move, like his lateral movement for a guy that's 7 feet is pretty outstanding. He can play on the perimeter a little. He can step up. He's not like a mismatch. He's not like Rudy Gobert where you can mismatch him, switch. Like he can actually play a guard for, a possession or two if need be on like a pick and roll, pick and pop. He could step up on that. I would say he's probably the most intriguing prospect just based off of his physical traits, his length, size, athleticism, lateral movement, quickness, all that stuff. His jump shot is very consistent. He shoots like 25% from the field the last few years, but it looks smooth. He can hit it. He shoots it with somewhat confidence. So you figure he can turn into or develop a jump shot or at least like 34%, where he's like a little below league average but respectable on the three. So I am going to take Alex Sarr with the number one pick. No surprise. And number two, Zachary Richichet. However you pronounce it, I could be totally wrong. I've watched him against Monaco. Yeah, they lost three in a row, but he played very well, especially in the second game. He started out lights out from three. He's a great catch and shoot from the corner, which is crucial in the NBA. I mean, he could be a role player. He could be a star. I see him with his defense, his length. He attacks the basket. He can drive, puts pressure on the rim. He's a very good rebounder. He's smart. He knows how to play the game. He's been growing up in a pro system like a lot of these Euro guys, and they're just taught the game of basketball at a high level at such a young age. So I am going to take him. I know the Wizards have a bunch of wings with Denny. Who else? They just drafted Bilal last year. Kuzma, which he's probably going to be gone soon. But I mean, you really can't have too many wings. And I just don't see a point guard right now, with the best guards being Dillingham, Shepherd, and Nikola Topic, which he might be a decent option. Topic is a little questionable here, but he has injuries, so I wouldn't even overthink it with knee injuries. If it's a tie, clearly that's a tie. He loses the tiebreaker. So I do think the Spurs could use a point guard, someone to set up the offense. Topic is very interesting at 4, so we'll see what we get there. But with the third pick for the Rockets, I would say they want to win now. They want to trade for McCall Bridges right now. So in mind, if they get McCall, they already have a small forward, and they already drafted Cam Whitmore and Men Thompson, big lanky guys. They're going to go with a guard because Fred VanVleet's contract is crazy expensive. I'm pretty sure he has 2 years left. The last year is non-guaranteed though, so you never know what happens. So I'm going to take a guard. I don't think Dillingham and Jalen Green, even if Green's even there in the future, are the best pairing. So I might go with Reed just because his shooting, he can run the offense. They already have star players there. It could very well be Dillingham, but I am going to go with Reed. Just 50-something percent from, 53% from the field. I'm pretty sure it was 53% from three as well. I mean, smart guy. He surprised people in the combine with a 42-inch max vertical. So, he's got some athleticism to make up for a little bit of his shortcoming on his height, length, and stuff. But just a smart overall player. And he's just a good fit for a team that wants to win now. And in a draft that's not super top heavy, it is what it is. That's kind of what you're getting out of this draft. More like filling a role rather than who's going to be the leader and like the superstar and the franchise player. But with the Spurs, it's interesting. They don't have to rush. Victor's 19, maybe 20 now, but he's super young. He's their MVP type player. They have Devin Vassell, got him on an extension. Keldon Johnson's still there on a solid contract, and who knows if they move him. I would say Klingon is interesting, but I wouldn't. That's just Victor Klingon. Like it is intriguing a little bit to have Victor step out, Klingon be down low, but I just don't like it at the fourth pick. Maybe if he was at 8, I would think about it. But right here, I'm just gonna take. It's Nikola Topic or Rob Dillingham. I am going to take Rob Dillingham. I know a lot of people want to take Topic. Some people say even Stefan Castle. But I just, Dillingham's upside as a scorer, shot creator, he improved as a playmaker throughout the season. I mean, this dude is just, he might be undersized, but he's talented. He's a bucket. It's nowhere to put it. This guy's shot creation is next level. It is just insane, and it could fit on that system and that team very well. I would say the Detroit kind of got screwed, 3 years in a row with the 5th pick, even though they've had the worst record. But this draft is not the draft you want the number 1 pick because, the number 3, 4, 5, even 7 pick might be better than 1 and 2. So you never really know. This draft isn't top heavy, so they're not in a bad spot. I could see the Pistons. They need shooting. They definitely need shooting. They have, right now, their depth is Cade. Who's, their guy? Cade's their guy. I don't even think Jaden Ivey right now. I mean, who knows how much longer he's on the team, if he can even coexist next to Cade. Asar Thompson is definitely there with defense, but he can't score right now. He's very raw offensively shooting. Jalen Durham. All right, so they're good on center. So honestly, they need some size. They could use some size in Matas. They also could use Stefan Castle, but I think he's kind of very similar to Cade. So let's just, I'm going to go with shooting. Matas was a good shooter in the G League. He kind of struggled for a little bit, but I do think he greatly improved, and I am going to take Matas, or he can greatly improve in the NBA because he does have the potential to be a good shooter. So we're going to take him. It's a little questionable, though, because maybe they go with Cody Williams, too. He shot a low volume, but he shot around 41%. So we'll see. Slam dunk. Everyone has Stefan Castle going here, which I think is a great fit. And Stefan Castle wants to be a point guard. But with LaMelo Ball getting hurt a lot, there could be my bad. There could be a lot of different games where Stefan Castle's running points. Sometimes he's running off ball. LaMelo Ball can play off ball a couple times because he can catch and shoot, even though he's much more effective on the ball. So I'm probably going to, or you could go with Ron Holland. I think Ron Holland's great. On my big board, he's 3, but just fit-wise here, they already have Brandon Miller, who's like a 3-4. They got Grant for a few years left. I'm going to just go with Stefan Castle, running mate next to LaMelo. With the next pick, the Blazers, all right, they don't need a guard. They are loaded with guards right now. DeAndre Ayton, they could try to find a backup or a guy to go next to him. Klingon's intriguing, maybe light a fire under Ayton. And I'm going to go, they could go with upside. They need defense. I'm going to go with Cody Williams here because I don't know how much longer Jeremy Grant's going to be on their team. And Cody Williams to the Blazers. Right now, we got the Spurs again because they got the Raptors pick and the Siakam portal trade. Wow, the Spurs have been killing it. The Dejounte Murray trade, the Siakam portal trade, man, they got a lot of assets for that. And then they ended up with Victor. So they do have a very bright future. If they can hit on these 2 picks, we already took Dillingham. They already got Vassell at the 2. So right now, you're kind of just going for like a switchable wing. There's no real person. You could take Klingon right here. Like I said, that would be interesting. But you could take Ron Holland. He's not the greatest shooter, but you already have Vassell and you already have Rob Dillingham. They can shoot. Victor can step out. So it's either between Dalton Connect and Ron Holland. Dalton Connect's older, 23 years old, I'm pretty sure. I think this team has time to grow, and I am going to take Ron Holland. I know a lot of people I'm going to say this right now. Dalton Connect's probably the pick they go with, him or Klingon. They want a 5. I'm going with Ron Holland. That's who I would want to pick. He's young. He's a defensive menace. You can build a great defensive team. Look at the Timberwolves, how far they got based off of defense. And his shot might come around, but he's a great driver to the basket. You already have 3 shooters on your team right now at their position. So I'm going to take Ron Holland. I know a lot of people have him fallen to like 9 or 10, but he's too good to pass up there. They have a good timeline for him. He doesn't need to rush. However, this is the total opposite. Their timeline, the Grizzlies, is win now. They had a bad season last year. They get one of these top 10 picks, but that was all because of injury. Ja was hurt and had the suspension, and then, Marcus Smart barely played. So right now I'm looking at someone. They need a center, so Clinton's the easy fit because they traded Steven Adams. This is perfect next to Triple J. I mean, he just falls to them, and he's just a great fit, safe, win now. He could even take Connect because he's a very good shooter, but just with the age with me, but he does have athleticism, so maybe he doesn't fall. Like I said, he could have went to the Spurs, but I'm going to take the center. I'm just going to take the defensive anchor. They already got Ja. They already got Bane, so they have enough guard play right at the moment. This is the Jazz. They could use a lot. Definitely Lauri's their franchise guy at the moment, but I heard he's on the trade block. Everyone's on the trade block. Everyone's tradable for a certain price. But I'm going to say they stick with Lauri and Walker Kessler down low. John Collins is probably the one they move, if anything. And I'm going to go with a guard. And I just think Nikola Topic is definitely the pick. He can run the offense. Lauri Markkanen's already a European player, so we're going to go with Topic and stop his fall down and keep him in the top 10. Oh, Chicago, man. That team was so good with Lonzo. He was playing great. He really was such an elite 3-and-D point guard playmaker. He fit that team like a glove, but when he went down, this team just collapsed. No one could stay healthy. I think they've ran their course. Levine's gone. DeMar DeRozan's a free agent, and he's getting older. So they're kind of just going to do a rebuild finally. And I think Cody Williams is the breakout player, almost won most improved. So I'm going to take him and build around him. He's a point guard, shooting guard combo. So you can kind of go with anyone. You can go with Isaiah Collier, big, strong guard, good upside, drives well, plays hard, gets to the hoop, rim pressure. Jacoby Walter, to James Saloon. He's very good. I actually watched his game for Cholet. Ooh, man, he's got potential. A streaky shooter, but, man, he's got confidence. And I like to see confidence in a shooter because that means they're hitting it in practice. They're hitting it in open gyms. And that's a good sign. But I'm going to go with, this is hard because they're rebuilding. And I really have no idea are they going to do a mini rebuild? That's what the Bulls have been mediocre for so long that I don't think they're going to do a total reset. So I'm not sure they're going to go a total project. But, I'll go with, I think Collier and Kobe White can play together. I'm going to take Walters, Jacoby Walters. He's a pure scorer, shooter, young. I think Kobe White is going to be a big on-ball. They also have AO. They got some other guys. So that was a tough one. Oh, this is a good one right here. The number 1 seed in the West, and they have a lottery pick. Very interesting what they do. They need rebounding. Zach Edey, I'm definitely not taking. They could always get rebounding in the free agency. Nick Claxton. They could get Isaiah Hartenstein. So you don't have to go with a big guy here. You can kind of go with, is Josh Giddey gone? Who's going to play with next to Shea? Because you already have Jalen Williams as like a 2-3. Lou Dort's still on the team. They're going to keep him. So it's kind of like, who's going to play on the wing? Who's going to be the backup point guard if Giddey's gone? So I am going to go with, people might not like this, but I'm going to go with Dalton Connect, a shooter, can play next to things. So there we go. It's an interesting one. It really is, but it's a win now piece. He fits them. They already have their star guys. They're big three, and they go in free agency, and they still have a lot of money to, fill other spots. So let's see. They might lose Malik Monk. Harrison Barnes and Kevin Herter are on the free agent market. So I'm actually probably going to go with a shooting guard to play next to De'Aaron Fox, like because Malik Monk might be gone, and if he's not gone, Kevin Herter's gone. Maybe both of them are gone. So it's very interesting and intriguing to see what happens. I am going to go with, you know, Jared McCain or Devin Carter. Devin Carter's a real good defender. Long arms, super athletic, can shoot. Jared McCain's more of a spot up shooter. This team, I'm going to go with Devin Carter. I think he's more versatile than Jared McCain. McCain's not the greatest playmaker. He is shorter, smaller. We're going to go Devin Carter in the lottery. He had a great season at Pre-C. I mean, I'm from Rhode Island, so watched a lot of basketball with Devin Carter, and that dude is electric. Very similar to Malik Monk. They don't play the same, but he's a much better rebounder, much better defender, but like similar offensive where they're just like explosive guys who can just shoot from anywhere on the court. They can drive. They got insane verticals. So right here, let's see. Are we still in the lottery? Yeah, last pick in the lottery. Ooh, this is they traded what? James Wiseman, a former number one pick, to get Gary Payton, the third back, or junior, I forget which one. But anyways, they got Gary Payton after he was just on their team the year prior, but they couldn't pay him because the luxury tax and this and that. And they end up letting him leave. They end up trading their first round pick and their former number one pick for him. And they didn't even make the playoffs, so clearly it was definitely a bad move, especially considering what you gave up for a guy who was in the G League a couple years prior and you were the ones who fished him out. But we already picked up Cody Williams, a wing. They still don't need a guard. I'm going to go to James Saloon, him or Filipowski, and Jane is just younger, more potential, more upside. I'm not huge on Filipowski, honestly, and that's who they're going to go with. Hold up, someone's on my phone. All right, so next we got the Miami Heat. Ooh, Devin Carter would have been amazing here. It would have been a perfect match made in heaven. But, I'm going to I'm going to think Jimmy's gone. I'm going to put someone that can play big next to Bam. They don't need a guard because they already got Hero and Rozier. Maybe they can develop a guard. They still have a second round pick. They can get one. So I'm not going to go with Jared McCain, but I am going to go with Kellen Ware. If you watch this guy's tape, he shot 41% or 42% from three, 16 points a game, 10 rebounds. He can block shots. He was listed at around just short of 7 feet flat without shoes on, almost a 7'5" wingspan. This guy has post fades. He can be a lob threat. He gets up. He's super athletic for his size and long. He can shoot the three ball at 42%, even though it was only on about an attempt and a half a game, I'm pretty sure. But his form's there, obviously, and he's just a total threat, pick and roll. His motor might be a little bit in question, but he really thrived at Indiana at the end of the season. And this guy came back from just like a mediocre year at Oregon. Not bad. He was a rookie. He was a freshman. So, but his talent is just, man. I don't see him coming. I don't see him passing either the Heat, the Pelicans, or the Lakers. Those teams, like he can't pass all three. There's no way. Like he's just a perfect fit with all three of those teams, and they all need centers, or at least a center who can play next to a guy like a Zion and Anthony Davis, a Bam, which means you need to stretch the floor, you need to be able to move. So I would say the 76ers are the hardest team to draft for. They only have one guy on roster. If you just look right here, if I'll scroll down, like one guy on the roster, and yeah, they have Paul Reed. He's a non-guaranteed contract, probably going to cut. These guys are all minimums. So they have no one. They don't even have Maxey under. Yes, they're going to sign him to an extension after they use all the cap space and max contract, whatever. But definitely interesting what they're going to take. So you have Embiid, Maxey. You're looking at Paul George and Jimmy Butler in free agency you're trading for. You could get DeMar, maybe Clay, most likely not. LeBron's very unlikely, but possible. So let's just say they have a small forward. So they need either a two or three. You need a wing. You really need a wing or a big four. And you can't have too many of those no matter who they bring in. They need a win now. So no one that's super raw. I do think Tyler Smith would be the next on my big board. But honestly, I don't think they're going to take him. They could. He would fit well next to Embiid. But I do think they're probably going to go with Tristan da Silva, all-around player, ready to win now. Very good. He could fill a role. He could start for them, honestly. He's old enough. He's definitely old enough and mature enough to come in this league and start right away. Here's an interesting one. Isaiah Collier or Jared McCain. I do think they're going to take a point guard. I think the CJ McCollum thing is just over. That experiment is not good. They could take Messi as a center next to Zion, so I am interested in that as well. Valanciunas is a free agent. You know what? I'm not huge on Collier. McCain is good, and I do think it's very unlikely he falls out of the top 20, even like around this spot. I just don't know if you take him over a center. I would say we'll go with who would I would take. Oh man, I don't even know what I would take. You know, what's their next pick? Oh, they have 21. Oh, this is the Lakers pick because they said they're gonna. Oh, I'm totally off. This is actually the Lakers pick. Most likely, we'll know within the next couple days or maybe today. Forget when the deadline is. All right, so if this is the Lakers pick, what's it called would have been perfect, Kellen Ware. But I am going to take a defensive guard, so it's not going to be McCain. I'm most likely going to take, I'm not taking Bronny. Collier would be a decent fit, but he's not the greatest shooter or off-ball player next to LeBron. They are in win now. Carrington was interesting, but I guess we'll just land with, ooh, people are really going to hate this. We'll go with Kevin McCollar. 3-and-D, older guy ready to win now. Man, people are really going to question this. The Magic. We're going to go with Jared McCain. We're going to get shooting. This is perfect fit right here. Also, we're going to have the Raptors at night. Oh, man, the Raptors have a lot. We're going to go, they already have Emmanuel Quigley. So I'm actually not going to go with that. I'm going to go with Messi because Jakob Portal's done. This guy can develop. Philip Kowski's in question. Actually, no, we'll go with Tyler Smith because Portal's still there. Who knows? They can get a center later on. Let's see. The Cavs. Who knows what they do if Donovan signs back? Who knows if Garland, if he's traded? Who knows if they move on from Allen? But we do know they have Mobley. And I'm going to go with an upside guy. And I'm going to go with Keyshawn George as a 3-and-D option. He makes some tough buckets, and he's very young, 18, I think. Great length, great size, plays good defense. New Orleans, now this is when we're going to take. Ooh, is Messi going to fall? No one had him falling, but we're going to take. I just don't think Collier is the best fit. We're taking Messi. I really don't. I really don't. With Zion, it just doesn't look like the fit. But here, I'm sure they're going to want to take Collier if he falls because they could use a point guard. Still not the greatest fit with these guys, but these guys can shoot. So I would take him. I love Carlton Carrington more, but I'm going to take Collier. I don't think they're going to let him pass up, especially since his fit there in playmaking. And they really could use that big body guy. He can develop into a better defender. We got the Bucks. They could have used Collier, but I'm going to take a wing. I'm going to take Johnny Furphy because they need defense next to Dame. And here we go. Some size, some length. Another foreign. Oh, now the Knicks get 2 picks in a row. We are going to go with one who I think is going to play for them, and that is going to be Ryan Dunn because defense. And they might lose their center. So I don't know if they take Edey. It's really questionable. I don't think Tibbs and his playing style fits all that well. So I think I'm going to have to go with, do you take Carrington as a point guard? He would have to be a backup. I think he would be a better fit on a lot of other teams. I think if Randall's gone, I think this is where, whew, Tibbs isn't going to play a rookie anyways. Let's just get one that we can develop. Actually, let's get Day'Ron. Day'Ron. That's the guy we're going for. He is definitely the guy we want. He is definitely like a Julius Randle type player. He could play right away. He's played 3 years in college. He's ready to go. And then the Wizards are back on the clock after they got this. They still can get their point guard. I know a lot of people are going to say Tyler Kolek. I actually know Tyler from Rhode Island, both of us. I played with him in basketball growing up, middle school and stuff. Played against him as well. And I just think this is a long rebuild, and he's a very dynamic point guard. But the Minnesota Timberwolves, great defensive team, have bigs. Mike Conley's getting older. They need someone to run the offense. I think there's a lot of intriguing picks. Like you could take Bobby Klintman. You could take Juan Nunes as a good point guard, Terrence Shannon. But I do think this is where Tyler goes. It's a perfect fit. They can make up for his lack of athleticism on the defensive end, but he's still a smart defender, good hands, and he's a first rounder, and I personally know him, so I'm very impressed that he's been able to turn himself into a first round pick, especially because most of these guys we're drafting are just insane, like freak, just athleticism and length and size, but he's overcame it, which is pure skill, hard work, and he's a smart player, and he fits in with them. They can what they can't do, he can do, and what they're really good at, and he's not the best at, they can make up for. So it's a perfect fit. I could see him just filling in as like a backup point guard, number 2 option behind Mike Conley, and maybe starting in the future once Conley retires. And now this pick is the Denver Nuggets. They need a win now guy. KCP might be gone. They could use any position because it's most likely going to be a backup, maybe a starting 2. So I'm probably going to go with someone who's ready now to play, not like a crazy upside. And I'm probably going to just go with the Filipkowski is his fall, I guess. This isn't a fall for me. I think I have, what's my big board have him at? I have Filipkowski on my big board at, I don't even know where he is. He might be like 20. Yeah, he's 33 on my big board, so this isn't a fall. I actually do see someone that's not even on this list that I am going to bring in, and I'm going to take him because I think he's a perfect fit. And I'm going to take, where is he? Right here. Perfect fit. Wing. Like a Kelly Oubre in a sense, almost, a little bit. Roughly. If you guys don't know who he is, we got 2 more picks left. We have the Utah Jazz, who already took a point guard. Now they're probably, Filipkowski's kind of just like Lauren Marketing, so I'm probably not going to take him. I am probably going to go with Terrence Shannon just because his scoring ability on the wing. Him or Trenton Flowers are my 2 ones, but Shannon does have legal issues, so maybe I don't take him. But he is so talented. I mean, Flowers is so down. I'm going to do Terrence Shannon, Hopefully he's not in trouble. Hopefully he didn't do it. They said he did or whatever and this and that. But we'll figure out before the draft. This is just 1.0, so I hope the week before the draft we'll have more clarity on that situation. And the Celtics can take anyone. They could use a wing. They could use a center in Edey because their backup center isn't the greatest. I mean, they have Porzingis. Horford's very old, but Luke Cornett is definitely not the option. I don't think they're going to go with Edey. They really could. They were the team who drafted Taco in second or undrafted, signed him, whatever. Filipkowski is a very good fit next to Tatum, Porzingis. And Justin Herbert is very raw. I don't think they would go with a win now, but they don't need someone. It's going to be ready to go now. Justin Herbert is very intriguing, kind of fits them defensively big. Jalen Tatum would be funny because his name's so similar to Jason Tatum. He's very good, but, I'll go with Filipkowski. Seems just like a Celtic guy. But I'm not sure it's going to happen. I'm going to have to really think. So here's the end of the mock draft. And, this is not what I thought it would look like. honestly, it's similar. I have guys in similar spots, but there's like two or three guys who are went the first that I didn't really have in my mind if I had to just think on the fly. There's also some guys who went a little higher, some guys who really fell, and I'm trying to go based off of not necessarily a little bit of who I would pick, but also who I think the team would pick, not something so unrealistic or out of character for these teams. But all right, there you go. It's a mock draft, and I'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll figure out this whole thing.